I don't know if it's the same. I call it trauma dumping. You had that one person or a friend that come to you and just dump all their trauma, what they had for the day, the week, what's going on in their life. How do you feel about trauma dumping and how do you deal with it?
So, two things. So, trauma dumping is not real.
Hmm.
It's not like a official term. I think it's more so like more social media has like latched it on. Um, it's hard. I will say I feel two ways. So one way that I always feel about it is that like at the end of the day, this is your friend.
Hmm.
There should be like a boundary, or I stop using boundary too, like a guardrail.
Volume 2. Yeah.
This is our show.
Yeah.
Introspective Insight. Introspective Insight. Peace, love, and all that good stuff. I am King Dev. That's Magic Gretzky, and we have another guest on the show with us today. And we back. We didn't record for the last 2 weeks. I was traveling. And it just get crazy because the place to which I work, they like to party when we out conferencing and all that stuff. But we have a great show ahead of us today. If y'all been listening for a while, you are not let's say this guest is not new to you. She's been on the show before. And she was in volume 1. I mean, Magic was on volume 1 too at one point, but the last time she was on the show, it was before the pandemic, volume 1. And as I was saying before we even started, it was when we was like wasn't full out in our careers, but we here now. So before we get into that and we introduce our guest, I want to get into the word of the show and the quote of the show. The word of the show is sashay. To glide, move, or proceed easily or nonchalantly. It's a reason why I chose that word based off the topic, but I'll come back to that. And then the quote of the show is caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. Andre Lord. What y'all got? Well, yeah, what y'all got? Anything?
Yeah. So where you been?
Where who been?
You.
Me?
You've been gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you took accountability. It wasn't me.
Oh no. It wasn't Magic. It wasn't Magic. I get to traveling and it throws off all of my schedule. So I was in Baltimore for it was a weekend. And then last week I was in Chicago all week. So by the time I got back, I hit Magic. Magic hit me. One of those. It go either way. And I got off the plane and I was like, yeah, I'll be there by 5:30, meaning like the plane is landing by 5:30. I hit Magic at like 6:30 and I was like, I'm not recording tonight. It's a dub for that. That plane ride back was mad uncomfortable and yeah. But we had Rhea on Sunday. And I also want to like be mindful of like the back-to-back recordings that we have because sometimes we'll run out of stuff to talk about. But we've been going for I got so many the internet taught me's in one, but it's all kind of tied up into the same because we ain't been recording for so long. So, but yeah, we here. It wasn't Magic this time. It was Dev. It was Devsky.
Is it usually Magic?
Yeah, it's usually Magic for the most part. Well, because Magic, when he travels, he's going somewhere where it's going to be loud, or he's with family. So typically we don't get to. But yeah, this time, I had my all staff meeting in Chicago, and like I said, my job, they love to put the drinks on the tab and everything. So I would never be able to record like that. But yeah, that's where I've been. But we back, and we got Rhea on the show, aka Rookie, whatever y'all want to call her. She is not like Magic where we are barred from saying his real name on the show ever.
I was gonna thank you for saying that because I was like, do I say the real name?
Yeah, well, if you did, so we had Frank on the show last week and he went the whole show, probably it was like an hour. He went an hour into the conversation and then it slipped. So if it slips, I'll have to go back. And I almost published the show without bleeping it out. I had to take
Well,
the
thank
show
you.
back down and put it back up and all that stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, we have Rhea on the show, aka Rookie. We all go way back in separate like lanes to a certain extent. Same city small. I don't even know how long I've known Rhea, but Rhea has been doing great things. Currently living not in Rochester, and she is a worldwide nomad. You never know where she gonna be, but she gonna be somewhere, and you gonna know it because you will see it on the story. So, Magic, you got anything as we're
About
introducing? Yeah.
Rhea?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me get him on. Okay. So Rhea, okay. I know Rhea because I know her brother, Bear. Rhea is very sweet, very kind. Um, Rhea, I used to have conversations with Rhea. Relationship conversations. I used to have to take her to go get her damn glasses. Um, Rhea was just she's a very good friend. Um, I like to see, even though she neglected me for 10 years, that I just found out. But I like to see how much she grown since she left. And ever since I knew her, she always talked about moving out of Rochester. She did it, and she just bloomed. Just she grew just like a flower, and she's still growing. And I love the things that she posts on social media. I seen the good, I seen the bad, I seen her overcome. And that's just the things that she posts on social media. And one thing I will say, no matter how much time went past, Rhea always stayed the same and the love never changed.
That's a
So I
fact.
always appreciate Rhea. There have been times where she'll pick me up. Hey, just come with me over here to blah blah blah. And I'm not an East Sider, and she has me on the East Side. And just those conversations, I always appreciate Rita for her perspective as a woman. I appreciate her for, and always appreciate her for being herself. So Rita, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Thank you so much.
But what you been up to? What's been going on? You done finished school and you done became people's safe space and clinically and all that stuff. So give us a catch up of what you've been doing before we jump into the conversation today.
Okay, so where do I start? I'll start where the journey changed for me. I left Rochester because I got an opportunity to work contracted with Apple to map the roads, and that allowed me to travel through the states. So I did that for a year and a half, and that was like my first time really leaving Rochester. I always said I was gonna leave, but that was like the first opportunity I got to actually get out. And I lived with so many different people from like all over the world, all over the states, and I just noticed like this trend, like people need a safe space, like they need somebody to talk to, and I would always be that person. So I flunked out of MCC. Uh, never got to finish that, so I was like, okay, I have to go back to school. So I did that for a year and a half, and I'm like, I have to go. I'm not going back to Rochester. I could not do that. So my sister lived in the Bronx at the time, and I was like, well, I can go back here and finish my bachelor's in psychology. I did that, thugged it out. In the process of that, I worked with kids with trauma. That was the heaviest work I've ever done in my life. And after that, I graduated with my bachelor's during COVID and still was working with the kids. Then I was like, I got to go back. Like, this cannot be it. So then I went back to get my master's in mental health counseling. And through that journey, he got me here, right? Like, I worked with people in another trauma center. I think that's where my work has always put me. And I did that for 2 years. I graduated, 3 years ago now, and I've been working partly independently and with companies, working with a diverse caseload of people, and all while still traveling the world. I hit my 31 countries before I turned 30, so that was really exciting. And now I'm just here trying to balance traveling and being a therapist in such a crazy world.
31 countries before 30 is crazy. I just be trying to get to one each year. You don't went to 31 before 30. That is insane, but that is a blessing too. Because people don't know how to manage all that while also not being in debt and doing that. You know, it's almost like a trade-off. I gotta live with my mama so I could travel, or I gotta, be a certain way because I want to travel more, or people just be in debt all together and not take care of themselves because they want to flaunt going out of the country. So that's real.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of lessons because I'm not gonna say I'm not in debt. I mean, I manage
I
my
mean,
funds very well,
we all in
but
debt.
yeah, I got student loans forever. But no, it is balancing it. But I do think it's a luxury. People always ask like, "Are you rich?" I'm like, if I was rich, nobody would see me.
No,
I would
I'm
have been
highly
gone already
favored.
somewhere.
I'm not rich. I'm highly favored.
Yes, literally highly favored.
Magic, what you got?
None.
Nothing. You over there. If y'all watching, y'all can
Munching.
see what he
Oh
doing.
my
If y'all listening, my boy is munching over there. This is
Oh,
this
y'all can
this
hear
snack
me?
time. No, all you hear is the bag rattling. You don't hear
Oh,
nothing
okay,
else.
okay.
Um,
I had a late night. I was at the studio 4 o'clock in the morning.
until
So
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock
yeah,
is crazy.
yeah, I know. Um, and so I'm catching up. I'm catching up with time. I say.
I feel you. I feel you. So you mentioned therapists and being people with safe space, and you finished your bachelor's in 2020 during the pandemic. How long did it take for you to go back to school? And is your undergrad in the same field, or did you just get a undergrad just because?
No, so I was really intentional. So I did psychology for my undergrad, and in the process of doing my undergrad, I was doing a minor in Black Studies. With psychology, I was able to do, I don't know what it's called right now, but I basically had like odd number of credits. So I did not a work study, I forgot what it was called, but I had to write like 20-page papers. And I had to work with somebody in the psychology department. And he actually was oh my God, everything's like not coming to me. He ran the mental health psychology program for master level. And he was like, his name was Dr. Sam, rest in peace. He was like, you should come to this, do the program after this. So once I graduated in 2020, it literally took no time. It wasn't even a thought. It was like automatic. I was like, I know this is my end goal. Especially because everybody hears psychology degrees don't get you nowhere. Like, oh, you can't work, you can't find jobs. I had that thought, and I was like, I do. I got a job with my psychology degree, but I want more, and I knew that I wanted to be a therapist. So I literally just applied to school as soon as I graduated.
And where was your graduate degree? Where you get it from?
Baruch College,
Brew?
Baruch in Manhattan.
Oh, Baruch in Manhattan. Okay. And why New
No,
York?
not Baruchin. It's Baruch.
Oh,
Baruch
Baruch in Manhattan.
in
I okay. How did you choose that school, or why did you choose New York?
So little backstory. My family is Jamaican on both ends. My mom's family lived in Queens, so I was raised in Queens for until 2005, and then I went back to Rochester. Like I was born in Rochester and then left and came back. And as Magic said earlier, like my goal was always to go like leave, and one of the biggest goals was to always move back to New York. So once I had enough money and opportunity, I was like, I'm gonna go back to New York. Baruch was free college, and I was like, I'll just go there. I didn't know anything about the program or anything. I just took a chance.
Free college. We all need that for sure.
Yes.
So mental health therapy. is a field to which we as in Black people, don't necessarily utilize to its fullest extent, nor can we find a lot of us in there. And if we break it down, it's more, I would assume it's more Black women than Black men, by the numbers. So there's a reality of mental health being ignored, underfunded, stigmatized in Black spaces and places. But also, like, there is a survival that we've learned. There's a way to survive that we've internalized that is absent of, the official mental health spaces. And on this show, Magic is very, very into like conversations around survival, love. Which one do you experience growing up? So, Magic, I feel like you should ask the question because you are the king of asking the survival versus love question. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. See, look, well, I don't even gotta and that's not on the thing. But Magic, I feel like it's warranted for you to ask that question to Rookie. I'm gonna interchange the
Okay.
names, but ask that question because I'm interested in the lens.
The question I normally ask the people is, how were you raised? Was it survival or was it love? I believe it's two ways you're raised as a child, and it's one is survival and one is love. And which one would you prefer? I believe also that if you was born with survival, or not born, if you was raised with survival, when you become an adult, you're now seeking love. And it's hard for you to love because you only know survival tactics. And then so on, vice versa for love. So what how do you feel or how were you raised? Were you raised um with survival or were you raised with love?
This reminds me of, like, the nature versus nurture. I feel like I was raised with love. Like, my
Mm-hmm.
mom, she did she raised me with everything I needed. Like I always say, I mean, as you both know, I feel like I'm really humble, and I think the reason I'm humble and I'm able to give love and show so much love is because that's what I was given as a kid. Um, from my mom to my sister, my brother, like I feel like they've always put so much effort into me, so much love and care, even if I may have not made a lot of the right decisions or made the right choices. I feel like they've always just given me what I needed. Even I think about like when I had to go to Franklin public school and I was scared for my life.
Mm.
My mom walked me to class. Like I made her walk me to all my classes, and it's like she could have just been like, "No, you got to go figure this out yourself." And I always think back to that, like she chose to walk me to classes, and be there for me and support me and hold my hand, like give me what I needed to feel like I was strong enough to do it on my own. And she always did that. Like even if she worked like a long day, any sports I played, she was there. She just gave me unconditional love, and it's so crazy because as a kid you don't notice it, you don't feel it. As I'm older now, I'm like, she's my best friend, and I think we're able to be best friends because she raised me in such a comfort, like a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Now, do you believe that affect how you live uh, surviving? So surviving, um, is that kind of like that tough love that you're not getting that much. Like me, I was raised with survival. I didn't hear "I love you" a lot. It was more I see my mom working, doing this and that, my dad working, doing this and that, just trying to survive and keep their child to the point where they don't notice what's really going on. So do you believe that's like something that you was missing growing up, or did you get the both of both worlds, the best of both worlds?
I feel like I was a child who put myself in situations to be a survival. I
Okay.
think even growing up, like in, I don't know. I mean, Devin, you never been to my house. Magic, maybe you have.
Yeah. On
My parents have a white picket fence,
pick a fit, yeah, yeah.
and yeah, so like that, like I always feel like that embodied like the idea of the life that I lived. Like we had like it looked like a perfect life,
Mm-hmm.
and like we my mom did everything to make sure we had that. And I don't think it was an illusion. I think that we did have that. But then me going, especially from like a Catholic school to public, I think that world came to reality was like, oh, there are things that are wrong. that I may not have been able to sit with or notice because I wasn't around. I didn't have anything to compare it to. So like going
Mm-hmm.
to Franklin and being around other people, even then I do think I still didn't have to. I wasn't in survival. My dad had a restaurant. He had money. He like supplied a lot of things for me financially, and then I had a mother who provided the love. But I will say there was moments like my father. I didn't say anything about him. I feel like in a lot of ways he put me in survival, right? Like having to figure it out and having to go through struggles or even like physical abuse, like stuff like that that my mom just never put me through. So I do think I had both, and I do think going to like a public school really put it into like frame where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, my life is not as like, and even like I'm sure like some people I went to school with, they probably was like, oh, this girl thinks she has it all together. And I never thought that. I never really thought that way. But I do think that going to Franklin put it into perspective, like, oh shoot, my stuff is not as like loving as I may have thought it was.
Mm-hmm. I was just talking about that last night in the studio. That transition from 6th grade to 7th grade, I went to Charlotte, was different. I didn't have to 6th grade. I wasn't going from class to class to class, and then I didn't see adults. I mean, not adults,
Mm-hmm.
but 16, 17-year-olds. I didn't walk in the hallways and see that. It was literally 6th grade was the highest grade of that school. So when I transfer over to 7th grade, and it's 7 through 12, I'm like, God, damn, what the heck? Where am I at? And then I'm
Yeah.
seeing crack. This is the first time I see crack. This is the first time uh people I know passing away. So life got real for me. Like when these two individuals passed away, I think it was during like midterms. I was like, oh, you could die as a kid. Like
Yeah.
this is something like real. Like I can see this person one week and then the next week they not here. So it was just like eye opening to me. Like, wow, this is different. Like this is not like 6th grade. This is not fifth, fourth, or third. I'm gonna have to watch my jokes now because it might hurt. It might hurt
Yeah.
somebody, or I
Yes.
might have to. I might have to stand up for myself because I went to school without my brothers. My other brother went to prison in 07, 08. My other brothers that lived in my mother house. He was grown. He was 18, 19. He got his own life, and then my other brother was in the army. So I wasn't raised. I will always say I wasn't raised uh the only child until like 13, 14, because all my other brothers either in prison or they grown and got their own life. So from 13 all the way to adult, or when you consider not a kid anymore, I was raised kind of alone. So I had to figure things out by myself because they was doing their own thing. So survival came into play at that point, and yeah, I was kind of. It was like it wasn't tough, but it was like oh shit, I gotta hurry up and become an adult. I can't think about the things I was thinking about at 6th grade. So
Yeah.
How did?
another question I do have.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go
What you
ahead.
about to say?
No, go ahead.
Another question I do have that I always ask is, like I said, you always had the goals of moving back to New York City. That's all you talk about. I'm going to New York City. I'm moving to New York City. That's all you talked about. And I'll just be like, all right, whatever. And then you actually did it. And then you jumped into the field that you in. How do your inner child feel? I always ask about the inner child. I believe that inner child is what you're trying to fulfill in life. That's your happiness. Your happiness is trying to make your inner child happy. And even though that you are an adult, you still have that inner child that had things that they or you wanted at that moment, and you just couldn't get it until you became an adult. So how is your inner child in the in your position right now? Do you think you fulfill it, or is it more to fulfill?
I like that question because I talk about inner child a lot too within like therapy sessions. I think my inner child's proud of me. I think about it a lot actually because I think about who I was back then and who I am now. They're not extremely different, but I feel like I was unsure. Like I knew I wanted to move. I didn't know why. I didn't really understand the background. Um, but I just knew something wasn't right. Like something didn't feel right in Rochester. I didn't feel like. I mean, I belonged. I have a lot of friends and people that I care about, but I don't know. My inner child wanted something different. I'm really big on community and family, and New York City always gave that to me. I have my whole family, majority of my family. So when I think of my inner child and when I finally did move back to New York and still being here, I feel so happy. I feel like she's happy. I feel like she feels like she got what she wanted. I don't think there's anything more. Like even where I'm at now in my life, like there's so many things I can do. I want to go back to school. I want to get my PhD. I don't even think that's my younger child in me anymore. I think she's gotten what she needed. But I'm trying to like lay the foundation for like future Rhea now. And I think all those parts of me are like playing together. It's like, okay, well you got to move back to New York. What else do you want for yourself? Um, I don't know. I think I also say my little child is probably a little sad. I'm not as creative as I was before, and I think she's maybe like yearning for that in some way. So I think I do try to put myself in different spaces so I can have that. But I feel like career wise or like futuristic, what I saw for myself at like I was talking about moving to New York from forever, from like 10 to 13. I think I've gotten that. Like I feel like I fulfilled that one dream. There's I don't know if you guys are in therapy or have done therapy. There's a modality called there's two. There's IFS, which is internal family systems, and you talk to your little self.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really sweet. It's a good modality. And then EMDR, and EMDR is eye movement desensitization. I'm not saying it probably right. Where you basically you remember memories from the past. And I try to do it, and everybody's like, "Oh, you seem like you didn't have a bad past." And I'm like, "No, I feel like my little self feels so good about where I'm at that like any trauma that I may have experienced or, you know, probably try to ignore, I feel like I've worked through it." And I think that's why I think in this day and age, I'm proud of myself, and I think my little self would be really proud.
One more question, Dad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, of course, I know you. I know some of the trauma you've been through. But speaking of inner child, I believe a lot of trauma is that inner child, what you've been through, and you just not you not really you just thinking of yourself as an adult. You're not really taking yourself back as an inner child. So my question is, do you think, or what is some tips of healing that inner child that some people have so hard to do? Or even think about, let's start with the inner child first and then let's work our way up. What is some tips, or what is some things about healing that inner child?
Yeah. So one thing, and I feel like I should like trademark this. I tell my clients this, but I say it because I feel like that's what I've done for myself. You have to sit with it, and like when I say that, like you have to really sit with what that experience was. So like I brought up my dad. He was a lot of my trauma, and um, I had to sit with it. Right, I couldn't run from it. I couldn't ignore it or like get into vices or dating and ignoring like the trauma of it all. I just have to sit with it and like really ask myself like how am I feeling with this and like what is it causing in my life. And I feel like people don't do that. People want to avoid, they want to just keep pushing, and you can't do that. You really have to like focus on what's happening, why has it happened. It's not even in your control, but it's nice to try to gain control. And I think people don't do that. They avoid and they just keep pushing. For me, sitting with it is the first biggest step, like acknowledgement, like this is trauma. And then once you start to acknowledge it, then you can start doing the work of like, okay, well, what has this looked like for me? Where is it showing up in my life? And like, am I becoming that person that I don't want to become because of this trauma? For me, it looked like having like really hard conversations with my mom and like my family, and understanding the why behind a lot of things. Um, I always say too, there's not a why for everything, and the why might not suffice. So for me, it did help because I was like, oh, I understand why this person made those decisions and why their decisions impacted me in so many ways than not. But those were like for me how I was able to heal, and then getting a therapist to talk it out. But also just I don't know, like again, community. I really relied heavily on community. Once I started to realize like, oh, this is, affecting me. I'm having like tantrums, I'm blowing up on people. I learned recently that my younger self was really like mean. I didn't think that about myself, but even that, like people having to tell you about yourself, and instead of you getting defensive or like shunning them away, you have to hear people out, right? Because everybody gets a different version of you, and even though we think we're showing up one way, somebody else is experiencing completely different. So for me, it's acknowledging those parts too. Like, who have I been to other people, and trying to write that, not to write it, like not change it or right the wrong, but really learn from it and grow. And then, find my community who can hold me accountable. So then you can actually do the healing, because it's like, okay, I know this is really, in fact, what has been happening. I know what to do with it now, instead of like, it's not that big of a deal. This just, everybody's favorite phrase is like, this is just how I am.
Mm.
And realistically, no, nobody's just the way they are. You have had things that have happened to you in your life that have caused you to be this way, which is like hard, rigid, sad, depressed, like all these things. Unless you start to really acknowledge it and like grow from that, there's no healing.
So you saying
I
like
like that.
just pray about it don't work?
Oh no. that doesn't work. And I will say, I'm not overly religious anymore because of that. I feel like I was raised in a Christian household, and even like now becoming a therapist, like when I decided I was gonna be a therapist, my Jamaican parents and family was like, what is this? That don't make no sense, don't do that. And like now being in it 3 years later, my mom is calling me like, I think that this person might have anxiety, like you should talk to them. So it's like, praying it away never worked, but they didn't know better. They didn't have the tools.
One thing I'm gonna say is parents always gonna show you and volunteer you to do something that you don't even know. Yeah, they just, you know what? My daughter a therapist. Hold on, let me call
Let
her.
me call her real quick. She might have a tip or trick for you.
Yeah, she might got it. Yeah, parents always doing that. This is my last question before Dad move on. What do you have to say about when people say, "Who's therapying the therapist"?
Mm.
What do you have to say when people say that?
So for me, what I will say is that most therapists, if they're good and if they are aware of themselves, they have a therapist. Like, you should have a therapist. I don't have one right now because financially, just my insurance is not covering it. But even then, like, I still want a therapist because I have stress. I have life things going on, and that can come up in sessions with clients. So you should have a therapist. That's like the top one. But then you should have community. Like, I have my select 4 people that I talk to every day. So if I have a stressful day, I'm calling somebody, I'm texting somebody. I think those are the top 2 things. Have your own therapist, and then have community. Because even like my community, I don't talk to them every day about like, yeah, my client stressed me out bad. Like, like that's not what they're there for. But they're there for like comfort and support, and like, let's go out and have a drink and talk just about anything. Those 2 things are the way therapists like survive and travel.
Oh, okay, I got one more question. This is my last question. This is my last question. I always do this.
He said that every time, and it'd be like 3 more questions.
Oh, this is every time.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So let's say, how do you feel about? I mean, you're a likable person. You have a lot of people that consider you as a friend, or so and so. You had friendships. Oh, I remember that story. You had a friend that's not a friend anymore. So let's say let's say you had a friend. How do you feel about? I don't know if it's a saying. I call it trauma dumping. You had that one person or a friend that come to you and just dump all their trauma, what they had for the day, the week, what's going on in their life. How do you feel about trauma dumping, and how do you deal with it?
So 2 things. So trauma dumping is not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a official term. I think it's more so like more social media has like latched it on. Um, it's hard. I will say I feel 2 ways. So one way that I always feel about it is that like at the end of the day, this is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
There should be like a boundary, or I stop using boundary too, like a guardrail. Like, all right, after so many times, you can't talk to me about this. But then I also think about like I have friends now who don't have anybody but me. Like, their community is very short, and I could only imagine if I had the nerve to say like, I don't want to hear this no more. And now they have nobody, and now they're struggling, and God forbid something happens, I'm gonna be at the funeral saying, well, I told him stop talking to me about this one thing because it was annoying me. I think people have to take themselves out of. A lot of people are fixers. They don't know how to just sit with people in the saddest parts of their lives or the hardest parts of their lives, and they just want to fix it. And that's why people have a hard time sitting and like they feel like it's trauma dumping, like, oh, you just put all your trauma on me. And it's like some people don't have any other spaces. On the other side of that, I do think there's a little too much, like, depending on what they're coming to you with, there might be a layer of like, all right, it's been a week and you've been talking about this every day. We got to try to change the conversation or something. But I feel like you should know people without trying to like manipulate it, where it's like, oh no, you talked about it all day today, I don't want to talk about it tomorrow. You just don't know what somebody's going through and what they might need. But I do think communication is so like amazing, because all you can say is like, hey, I've noticed the last week you've been talking about this and I just want to know, what do you need from me? Do you need me to help you through it, or you need me to sit with it and help you sit with it? And I think a lot of people would have less problems because it wouldn't feel like trauma dumping.
Or whatever the official term is. Because
yeah, like I forgot the other word is right now. That it's a whole nother meaning.
So y'all just get y'all age and just start forgetting shit, huh?
Yeah.
First of all,
God,
you the
like,
oldest on here.
Yeah, you are the oldest.
Confused.
Oh my god.
You the oldest one
And
on
I'm
here.
showing out right now. I'm showing out. I remember a
So
good
okay, trauma
amount.
dumping. Okay, I remember. So I had to look it up. Google helped me, because okay, so trauma dumping is when it's like uninvited, unwanted.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I'm calling you and nowadays everybody thinks, oh, are you, what is it? Do you have capacity to like talk to me about this? That's you saying, like, if you say no, all right, cool, I'm not gonna say nothing to you. But if you say yes, it's not trauma dumping, right? Because it's like you allowed me that space. And I think that's the difference that I feel like is huge. Like I work, I see like 7 to 8 clients a day. You call me after the 8th client, I'm not listening to you. I'm not, we're not gonna talk. So I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't have the capacity. If you then continue to talk to me about something, then yeah, I'm gonna feel like maybe the quote unquote trauma dumping. But I don't feel like that's how usual friendships work, where somebody just like, you on the phone with them, they just start telling you their life story. Usually, the conversation is going there, and you start to tell your whole life story, but you telling somebody you feel comfortable with and you feel safe with.
Yeah, that's. I think that one of the things, and you said it a few times, community. We don't always define community in our spaces. We kind of just say like we're of the community, or we believe in community, or like I have my community, but every community is not a good community. It's so funny. I wish I had the clip that I can pull up, but there was a press conference. There was a press conference in Baltimore, and there was somebody talking on the mic, and the mayor was standing behind him. It was a press conference, so the mayor and I would assume his cabinet or his officials, whatever. And I guess there was a conversation around like it takes a village or whatever. So the guy who was on the mic, black dude, of course, he was like, I understand y'all say it takes a village, but what if the village is retarded? Then what?
Oh yes,
And I was like, oh, that's a great point. And I mean, obviously it's funny, but at the same time, it's calling back like who is a part of your village, your community, whatever you're calling it, and then how are you defining what parts of your life they have access to? So even with like the trauma dumping and stuff, I always say like if I feel like I don't have the capacity or the emotional availability for certain people, I just won't engage them. And it's got to the point now where people just they know, like, if I didn't answer, I'm not available. It's not that I'm ignoring you, and it may be a running joke if I'm ignoring you, but I don't have it because I too show up in the same way that Rhea is speaking of. I am the secure attachment style, if you will, to my friends and family and things of that nature. And sometimes it could feel a little dumpy. And it sometimes is unintentional too. Like you having a normal conversation and then something sparks, and then now they talking about something that's like, oh wait, I ain't get on with that. So I could feel that. And I guess one thing, I spoke at a mental health convening in January with the Jet Foundation around boys. And that's my national work in loneliness. the loneliness epidemic is also something around boys, that is also tied to this mental health space. Um, and I think that mental health right now, I mean, I think it's always been, but it's a really big public health crisis in addition to like all of the other things happening. Like mental health is up there. So Howard's it's funny that Magic went on a question spree around the inner child and how that's showing up and how you're dealing with the inner child. So how does your experience growing up in that inner child and the mental bouts that you had to engage throughout your childhood, especially coming from a Catholic school to Franklin, crazy. But y'all, those of you out there that don't know, Franklin is like crazy. I think the last, I would say within the last, no, was I in Rochester? I don't remember, but I remember it was a kid of late. He was like running to the side door and they were shooting at him going to the side door. Franklin is literally like in the hood for the most part of Rochester. But and that's a crazy like difference, like vast. I didn't even know Catholic schools existed in Rochester. Um, but how do you use those realities, your realities of being in polar opposite environments, being loved on by your mom, but experiencing survival by your dad, and all of these different things in how you approach what community is as you are packaging that to your clients?
That's a good question. So I'll start to say even my why for becoming a therapist was because of Rochester, right? For like I think Magic said it like perfectly, like that transition, seeing and like I transitioned like Catholic school was completely different. I went to an all girls school first of all, um, majority white. I think there was probably 20% black kids. Um, to then going to Franklin and then being exposed to drugs, sex, violence, like it was just so like a life flash before my eyes and like being exposed to so much like trauma like that. Franklin was trauma. Kids like having kids, people getting sexually assaulted by family members and like having to get relocated, like it just was so heavy. And even in Franklin I was so young but I was like providing those safe spaces then. Like I remember I had a friend who had like she was in foster care and had like a terrible like upbringing. I brought her to my house and I told my mom, I was like, well, we have to take care of her. And even having those experiences or like in school when people were fighting, I used to be the sentry. I used to be blocking fights. Like, we're not about to do that, guys. Like I was just always trying to block things from like manifesting into like bigger, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about trauma back then. But I took that and even back then I tried to provide some love and support and like community, even though like I think we all didn't know what those things meant. Like at 14, 15, I didn't know anything about anything. We just were starting to experience life. Um, I feel like even so when I then started working with kids with trauma, I think that's when it all kind of put itself into like a nice, like perfect box for me. Like it really put things like, oh, this is a mirror. Um, those kids have like they've experienced so much trauma. And a lot of it is because of the community that were supposed to take care of them, like parents, guardians, caregivers. Um, you just seen how lost they were and how you could give them everything. You talk about survival versus love, and like you can give them love. It doesn't matter. It does not fill the void that they may be experiencing because one, you're not the parent. One, at 13, you've gone through trauma that people have never even experienced. So nobody can relate to your experience. So that helped me really understand that like you see something, it looks one way, but it may not be what exactly it is. And as adults now, like being 30s, we think we know it all. Or like we look at the generation now and we be like, oh, they're so bad. I don't think that. I think they're going through what we went through, where we were trying to figure ourselves out and explore. So like when I work with teens and I work with adults now, it's funny, you still could see it, like that part of themselves that hasn't fully healed, that hasn't grown, or the lack of community and how it still impacts like being a 30-year-old, or I have 60-year-old clients who I like, you still need community. Like, you're still struggling to find your identity and who you are at your core. But they remind me of the little kids I worked with. If you don't know who you are, if you have never been raised with people who see you and feed into you and help you grow as a person, you're always constantly trying to find that version of you. So a lot of my conversations in my therapy sessions with from as young as 6 to 60 is really trying to find like who you are at your core and how do you want to be? Like, how do you want to show up? Right? This is the trauma and this is like the blueprint of the trauma, but like, let's create a new blueprint. Who do you want to be without this trauma? Like, how do you want to show up? And then a big part of it is community. So like having community that actually is helpful. So if your community is like, stupid, you also you gonna make stupid decisions, right?
Mhm.
So all of that, like growing up in Rochester, seeing how like one bad decision could lead to addiction, violence, abuse, like all this stuff, then working with kids in trauma and seeing it play out, like firsthand experience with it. I think it's always given me like, I don't know, like a little cheat code, because you see how things can go, like how bad it can get and how some people don't come back from it. So like in my sessions, I provide a safe space, but who's your community? How can we foster that community for you? How can we help you find your self identity outside of this, the things that have caused you the most trauma? And maybe some of that is separation. Like, let's isolate yourself real quick so we can start to really work on those troubling parts of you, and then find people who connect to you and like help you feel better and full. Because I feel like that's one thing about community. You should feel full with your community. Like when you go out with your friends, you feel good. When you go out with your family, you should feel good. And when you don't have those pieces, you see how it works out. So like from Rochester to trauma kids and to now, I think that's the theme. Like if you have a poor community, if you have poor emotional regulation, and you just aren't ready to do the healing, it's not going to work. So for me, I feel like all those pieces have to come together for you to get the whole person.
It's so interesting because even like at work, which I work at a PWI, I guess. It's not a college, but a company. And when we were just at all staff, like all of the Black people congregated. And like I was in like the new hire portion of it, even though I'm not technically a new hire, but on paper I am. And it was one other Black person, two other Black people technically on there. And I made it my mission to make them feel safe, but also put them on how it is around here. So stay close to me and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel that we have to create systems that perpetuate what we want to, how we want to care for each other. Because just in the space alone, professionally, we feel, in community too, we feel so burnt out just trying to get to the next step, whatever the next step is. It don't matter what the next step is. We feel so burnt out because of all of the things that we've talked about, all of our childhood trauma, our searching for identity. Like we was on with some of Magic people, and one of the conversations that we had was around how Dodger was searching for his identity for the longest in terms of what it is that he wanted to do, that kind of led him to experiment on different things in different ways, which introduced some friction in their relationship. And I feel like we, especially Black men, but I feel like we as a whole, we struggle with that because we're only sold so little of what success looks like. Obviously with Black women, it's way more broad and vast than for Black men. And I feel like that doesn't allow for us to really explore how we define ourselves through the things that we want to do in life and in community. So it's either all or nothing. And I don't know that that exists, because to thrive in some of these systems, we have to figure out how do we want to show up in the system consistently. And even thinking about like kids, I'm not a therapist, but one of my kids asked me to be his therapist. It was crazy. And he asked his mom, and we both was like, he can't be a therapist. But kids also look for a space to just be seen and be heard. And not every space knows how to acknowledge somebody else because they don't even acknowledge themselves in terms of like the individuals don't know how to acknowledge somebody else because they don't acknowledge themselves. And when you acknowledge other people, especially as an adult, it always get misconstrued as you flirting with somebody or you wanting more or anything like that versus it just being genuine. Like, yo, I appreciate you for what you do and just being here. So yeah, I felt that. And I think how do you tell the same story in different ways? Because I think you said from 6 to like 60, you like the age range of how do you manage kind of sending similar messages to such a wide range of people? Because that's a skill. Like even in working in the schools at one point, I had to do that with kindergartners all the way up to 50, 60-year-old teachers and explaining like, nah, you can't approach it this way. So how do you do that in that like official clinical space?
You meet them where they're at. I think that's like the easiest, seamless way. Like I got a kid that we play. All we do all day is play Battleship. We play Battleship so much, but like it's so much work being done within that. Like he's feeling safe. He feels comfortable. He's like happy and able like to be himself. And then like with the 60-year-old, right? Like meet them where they're at. Talked about things that are within their, their age range, but the same concept, right? Like people want to feel safe and comfortable and feel like they have the ability to learn, right? I feel like even working with kids, I think kids are so funny, right? Because they're sponges, right? But they've been taught or, dismissed in so many ways. They don't want to be as open. So giving them that space to be open, be interested and curious, I think that's what carries to adulthood. Because if you're like 60, like when I have 60-year-old clients, I'm always just like, it's so funny. My mom is 60. But I'm having these conversations with my mom as well. So I'm being curious about her reality. And I'm open and letting her have that space to figure it out or explore what she's feeling. You give that to somebody, they're ready to be they're willing and open to like talking and just giving you free range to like explore whatever you need to explore with them.
Word. That's lit. Magic, you got anything? I seen you writing stuff down over there.
No, that's my final question.
You said that last time.
I always got a final question. No. I'm talking about at the end of the show. My end of the show question.
That was the end of your show. Okay, so that's dope. And I think one of the things that I'm taking away from the conversation is our need to consistently assess, reassess, and define what community is. Because that is a root cause to your mental health, whatever it be, positive, negative, indifferent, stagnant. If you don't have people around you who acknowledge you in any capacity and can also say like, yo, I'm good on that for right now, what can we do next, like redirect you in energy, then you tend to kind of fall into the gap, that mental health gap that exists specifically in our community, or you fall into the just pray about it or things of that nature. So that's what I'm taking away. But before we go into the final like section, if you will, of the conversation, I want to go into the internet taught me.
It feel like it's not enough time. It feel like it's not enough time. I haven't had conversations like this with Rita in so long. So it feel like it's not enough time.
Because when you call her, she don't got no service because she in Greece.
Or Bangkok or something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And when we was
y'all could just have me on the show more often.
That's I mean, we are kind of looking for a woman, a third co-host. I'm just
Hey, he just saying.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying I have room. I can make room on my schedule.
I mean, you always welcome on the show. That's a fact. That's a whole fact. Yeah. And I was gonna say, Magic, we definitely ain't have no service when we went to Cuba. That was we had to go and get What did we have to get?
Mojito.
Y'all did
Mojitos.
go to Cuba to go to.
Yeah.
Y'all did go to Cuba together.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
we had
I
drink
remember.
mojitos.
mojitos. We had to go and get mojitos. We was there for like 2 hours. We had to spend like $14 or something like that. Yeah, that was a trip. That was a trip.
That was such an empowering trip as well.
Yo.
I love Cuba.
It was a great trip. Great trip. Shout out to Cuba. Hopefully they got power and all that stuff now because I haven't heard anything
I hope so.
about that since. And the homies. We met some.
Probably because they ain't got power.
We met, huh?
No.
Yo, you was stupid. You was stupid.
Oh my god.
The internet taught me. Magic, what you got?
The internet taught me. I was having a conversation with my brother, and I was talking about China. The internet taught me that China moved their one-child policy to a two-child policy. I think in 2015 to 2021, and then changed it to a three-child policy.
What does that mean?
And that they can have 3 kids and not be penalized.
Oh, they be penalizing you if you got more
see
than
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from 1979 to 2015, it was strictly limited to 1 child per couple. And then from 2016 to 2021, it was two-child policy. And then the third child policy became from 2021 to present. I learned that and I just thought it was interesting because I always, you always hear about other countries, but you don't really know until you actually go there, or it's like a big thing that's happening. And I forgot why we were talking about China. I think because I remember not too long ago they was having problems with it was too many males and not enough females. And so I think this is why they changing the policy also, as well as the population growth is starting to decline because nobody's having babies. And that's worldwide. Nobody's having enough. Everybody not having enough kids. So what they did was just increase the 3 or the 2-child policy and I think they're saying you can have even more. It's just it's things you have to follow to have more kids, more than 3 kids. I just thought that was interesting.
That's crazy. It's not.
It just gives you this perspective of America is shitty, but it's a lot of things you don't have to go through, like having as many kids as you want. Because you go to China, you can't have as many kids as you want. And at one point, it was if you have you only have males, you can't have a daughter. So it's like
that's
you
crazy.
blessed, man. You blessed. And sometimes where you at?
I mean, I get it.
Shit, Cuba ain't got no power.
Yeah, true.
That's because of the U.S. though. That's
but still, it's a shitty country.
Perspective.
It's a shitty country, but sometimes you blessed where you at. You're not in war. You don't hear bombs.
We got a different
get up
war.
and drive. Well, yeah. I mean, our war start at birth.
Yeah.
Our war start at birth.
Yeah.
So
I said it on the show before, but if a bomb ever dropped on this land, people wouldn't know what to do. Like that, people would be losing their mind. So, yeah. It also makes sense for their type of government too, because they would have to pay for the more kids. And they invest in heavily in robotics over there in China. So but they also get mad money from us and from us, which is a whole nother conversation. Okay. Rhea, you got anything?
I do. I've been I don't know if you guys have been following. They've been saying so for years, right? The biggest thing with ironically kind of what Magic is saying, women's have biological clocks. Like that's like been the thing for years. And recently they've been doing studies, and I had to pull it up because it was so interesting to me. that actually no, women don't have clocks. Like they can have kids, as you can see, and people are having kids at 40, 50, 60. What actually declines is the male's quality of sperm. And I always say this as a therapist, like depending on the male's sperm, your child will have like, a lot of mental health concerns, autism, autistic, depression, anxiety. That's due to the quality of the male sperm. On top of that, I mean, we've all seen like, and we all learned in like health class, like the sperm race, the fastest sperm, the strongest sperm, it goes through the egg, and that's not true either. What actually happens is that the egg actually chooses what sperm it allows in. So it just debunked everything that like
I read
as
that.
women's health. It's so cool to me. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I read that. Like the gender
even
of a child.
Even in fertility, there's patriarchy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Dang.
Yeah, I also learned, speaking of that, I also learned that like autism and things like that is not because of sometimes it's not because of the person. It's actually because your sperm is copying the DNA. And when it's copying the DNA, sometimes it messes up. Something might alter in your life, or you might be around an environment that you shouldn't be around. And when it's trying to copy that DNA or mutate, it fucks up. And that one sperm might be the sperm that gets into the egg, or that one of those sperm. Because it's not like it's just one sperm. It's a healthy male should have a lot of fucking sperm in his. Yeah, million. So that's a part of the reason why Down syndrome and things of that nature happen, because of the copying of a DNA. It's trying to copy, but it's copying wrong.
Wait, so you talking about like in the moment, in the heat of the battle, in the release of all of excitement, you talking about something happening and then the copying of the information?
Before
you talking about
even
like
when it's just sitting in your ball sack and it's just sitting there,
that is
crazy.
crazy.
It's already copied. And so when it's released, it might be the wrong copy of your DNA.
That's crazy. I always say people that plan your
No,
pregnancies.
I don't think that's the main thing. I still believe there's food. I still believe
environment.
Environment, food, the environment, the air quality. I also learned. See, this is what happened. Reed. He gets me going. But I also learned that I think, was it New York City? Somewhere, they have a lot of bad air quality. And they trying to figure out how to control it. And I think that's something really scary, because I like space. Like, I was so in tune to the NASA, them going around the moon. Like, I was looking at that every day, seeing, okay, what's new? What's this? What's that? Even like the pictures, I love when they came back to Earth. Like, I'm really in tune to stuff like that. Them coming back into Earth and they going 10,000 miles per hour. Like, your eye can't even see how fast they're going. Like, even like some people don't know that Earth is really spinning fast as hell, but it's spinning so fast that it keep us grounded.
Yeah.
So I'm really in tune to. I don't know where that came from, like how I got into space, and I should have been an astronaut, but space and how stuff, like, I love that stuff. Like, even Mars possibly had a river. Like, I'm all in the type of that's my thing. That gets my blood boiling. Like, ooh. But yeah.
Ooh.
I love this.
Cause it's just neat, like how the world works, and how the solar system works, and how there's so many other solar systems in the universe, and that we just literally a germ compared to how big this universe is.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to me.
Neil, what's his name? Neil,
what is Grant?
Gleason or
the Greasy? Whatever his name is. Afro Man, black,
Star Talk. That's his the black man.
Yeah, I watch his stuff. Yeah,
bruh,
I watch it.
Maybe that's your fault. Because it just been randomly popping up on my feed, and I be getting, it be like long clips, and I just be like I learned that they use the gravitational pull of the different planets to like thrust the satellites like further without using the jet fuel and stuff. Like I be just sitting here like, oh wow, that's crazy.
It's amazing. Even like how they went around the moon. They used the gravity of the moon to pull them back and come back around to Earth. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah, it's yeah. Okay, well, at least you know. That's how the internet be doing. It just be teaching the stuff or reminding the stuff. My internet taught me is here on the homeland, and I just felt like I need to, not the homeland. It's here in the U.S. That I felt like it was just some things that the internet was showing me that it was like, oh wow, that's new to me, but it's stupid. So the first one is apparently when you subtract 500 from 600 and you make 100, that's a 600% decrease. I'm confused because 50% of 600 is 300. So I'm just trying to figure out how they got the 600%. But you know, these are the leaders of our country. After the shooting last night, if there was a shooting, because nobody really got shot, apparently.
They said it was a black man.
He's mixed. But and I seen somebody on social media was like, his mom is definitely white because you can tell, right? But the fearless leader of this country, or the corrupt leader of this country, said 10% of 1%, to keep it simple, 10% of 1% of race car drivers die. This is in response of the shooting. 10% of 1% of bull riders die. And then he said 5.8% of presidents die and 8% are shot at. The internet just teaching me that these people is stupid. And then the internet is reminding me that we're going to watch Mitch McConnell die on camera answering a question, and he's going to be standing up. That's another thing, because they asked him if he's going to run again, and he couldn't hear them, and then he just froze again. The man's going to die on camera. And then lastly, this was a few weeks ago, but Ria's former mayor is officially an Albanian citizen, and he's reminding me that all kinfolk ain't kinfolk.
I mean, he wasn't kinfolk when he was in office.
No, he wasn't.
Terrible. That man he was partying with the people that have money every weekend.
Eric what's
Adams.
his last name?
Eric Adams.
Yeah.
Eric Adams. Yeah, he went to Albania, and in front of all them white people, he was like, "I'm Albanian now. I love America, but I'm Albanian now."
He's not. Nobody wants him in New York. He's got so much money.
Yo. Yeah. I seen when he was running, I seen one of the videos of him introducing the new garbage cans. I want to say a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Yo, that was so funny because he was like, "Oh, we have new garbage cans now." And then he had like a garbage bag and dropped it in the garbage can and then closed it. He was like, I was like, bro, this man was just eating up all the money. That's crazy.
Y'all mayor.
Yeah.
Not anymore. We have a mayor now.
Well, y'all got
Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani.
Yeah, that man
doing everything.
He trying to make sure that he's making up for that immigrants built New York City. Anything that come out around black people, immediate. The deed stealing, deed theft, office of deed theft. Go and fix that for my people. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing that.
That's what he's doing. What he got to do. He's doing something that nobody else did. So
at all.
New York is gonna look real different.
Yeah. It's gonna look real different, and it's making the Democratic Party look bad because all of them could have did it. They just chose not to. So I mean, that we need more of us in office. We talked about that on the show before too. Like, we just need more people our age. More millennials in office.
People that could see it, like, we're being impacted most right now. We can't even buy houses. Rent is high. Car payments is high. Gas is high.
I'm trying to find a 2-bedroom, and the minimal price is like $3,700. I'm not paying that. It's a dub. I miss going when I was in Rochester at Crescent Gardens. And I paid $875 for a townhouse, 2-bedroom townhouse. I miss
Those
that.
prices don't even sound real.
After the pandemic, even them, they went up. I think I was paying pretty much $1,000
Mm,
for the same apartment that did not get renovated at all.
mm, mm, mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something gotta
I'm
be
trying to
fixed.
I'm trying to buy a house, but the house market is shitty for like 6 years, and everything is now the minimum I see is 200,000.
In
So
Rochester,
yeah,
where is that
everywhere,
200,000 showing up?
everywhere but the east side. I mean, I
You might
don't
get
think
a
I
good
have
deal on the east side.
to. I would
You
never live
might
on
get
the
a
east
good
side.
deal.
I would never live on the east side. I'm a
But one
west
thing about the
sider.
east side, they have I always like admired the east side because obviously like I've had parents like my dad and my uncle live over there. Their houses have more space. Like I don't know if I mean the houses
Depends.
I've been in.
Depends
Depends,
on where
yes.
you
But like
at.
my
Yeah.
mom's house, I feel like the rooms are like all like bunched in, and then like I go to the east side, the rooms is huge. I'm like,
Hmm.
What
they don't know
neighborhood?
how
Well,
to
they
live
had
over there.
a lot of mansions is over there. So like that Joseph Clinton area before black people actually migrated into the city, there was a lot of those is mansions, old mansions that they flipped and turned
Mm.
into like apartments and double houses and stuff like that.
I mean, yeah,
That makes
19th
Hmm.
sense.
Ward too got big houses.
19th Ward is is. I mean, she is a 19th Ward, so she knows.
Hey, chill out, B.
uh, okay. So, question: if you could redesign mental health support for our community, from the ground up, what would that look like in your pre-doctoral journey? Because that's like that's
Mm,
dissertation question for real.
yeah. Okay. I'll start with the one thing I always know.
Mm-hmm.
So even I feel like a lot of programs are trying to do it now. I feel like you have to start from like birth, like before even birth, before like having kids. Like you have to give parents like stable environments. I guess it's so many things because like the New York that we're like trying to envision now, it's like giving people the ability to take care of themselves. So like childcare, free education. What else is important that I feel like is that we need to start with? I would feel like just starting with mental health at the beginning age, like at the youngest of like 0 to 2, like giving kids like a safe space. So like if their parents live in poverty or they have any issues financially, providing them like financial support. Like our wonderful mayor, he just made daycare free for I forgot like what age. I think 0 to 6 or
Mm-hmm.
0 to 4. I forgot what age, but that alone too. Like think about how much of a de-stress that is to like know that your kids are taken care of
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
while you go work or you go do something that feels good for yourself. So like starting with that. So programs that address like poverty, food insecurities. I used to work in the Bronx, and the Bronx is in a food desert. There's not a lot of options or healthy options for like good food. You have to travel really far for it. So public transportation or offering programs that connect with farmers markets so that people can get healthy food. So I feel like starting from like household, ensuring that each person in the household is their mental health is being addressed through like services within schools, within jobs. I honestly think jobs should have like therapists on site. Like I don't know. I think that's like
Mm-hmm.
a big thing that I would redesign.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think about New Rochester just now. I seen like last week they're firing like 21 therapists, social workers from schools. Like that would never happen. Like
That's
therapists should be
crazy.
going so crazy, especially now. Rochester and their kids, everybody needs it more
Mm-hmm.
now than ever. But like mental health should be from elementary to college. And I feel like it should be a mandated thing. I don't feel like it should be optional because as we know as black people, we wouldn't do it if we weren't forced to, unfortunately, or if like
Or
we never were taught that it's helpful. So if you've always had a therapist in your life, you would automatically be like, yeah, I had a therapist. It was helpful. It was cool. So I think having therapists from like a young age to retirement, respectfully, and then community. I feel like we need to have more spaces for community. Like I think I'm always argue for community, a healthy community. So like cookouts, like we not doing cookouts no more. I be having cookouts, but having cookouts like family functions.
Mhm.
And I would even mandate families gotta have family therapy, like because a lot of it happens at family level and
Mhm.
nobody's addressing anything. So if the family is working on their mental health and individually and as a family, you'll just see so much more positive like results. Kids will be feeling like, oh, my parents are able to talk things out. My mom and dad, when they're fighting, they're able to talk through things, and we don't feel that pressure or that things are going to spark up into like a negative environment. So I really feel like I don't know. Honestly, if I could look at it, it would be family unit, school unit, um, friendship unit, like every community that you're a part of, individual support for each group. Because I do think as a community, once we're all good, everybody like there's no reason for us not to thrive.
Mm, that's real. So I'm looking at my notes. And this idea of like community based healing versus institutional care. Um, Obviously, there's a stigma around the institution for various reasons, and you touched on it a little bit, um, around like cookouts and stuff because that. We don't have what we had before. So, and I've been on
Mm.
this like high, not really a high for real, but my nephew is struggling in school for multiple reasons, and the school system is not even the same way it was like um it doesn't exist in the same way it existed when we were in middle school, high school, elementary, where like you actually had to do work and you actually had to
Mm.
think, you actually had to read, you actually had to write, you had to write well, you had to write neat. um Technology was at a
Cursive.
minimal. Yeah, you had to do cursive. We did typing classes at one point. I mean, those went away after what, like third grade for real. But there was all those things, but now everything is digital. So like doing your work is digital. He didn't do an assignment around Hitler and all of that stuff, but the assignment was a Word doc that he had to like copy and paste. And you're on a Chromebook and you're splitting the screen and you know all of these different things. So then when the teacher told my sister, the teacher said that he can email me if he wants to make up the work. First of all, first of all,
Mm.
why is a eighth grader um emailing you to do work? Like whatever happened to, oh, you ain't complete this? Okay, well, we gonna have some lunch together and you gonna complete it during your lunch since you didn't do it right. Like what happened to that? What happened to detention where there was extra time or a study hall after mandatory study hall after school, and I'm going to call your parent to make sure that that's the thing, or tell your parent these are the options. How can we like do that? Now it's like, oh, well, they're not doing it. If they want to, email me and then it'll be fine. So even in the school setting, there's no like communal aspect. Like we all know that one teacher that was like, yeah, nah, this ain't sliding in my room, right? Versus now it's not like that. So, and then now what you just said around social workers and therapists and all that stuff being fired or moved out of the school is even worse because a lot of trauma is compounded in school, especially when you have teachers who can't diagnose, but they diagnose and then they play on the stories. They feed off the stories that they hear from the students or the social workers, parent liaison, whoever, around what their home situation is. So then they treat them as such. So how do we, in this day and age, right, get back to that like community based healing, or craft some spaces now, third spaces that is informal. I see community based healing as an informal place where people to engage. This show, I always said this show was my informal like healing space that I brought people on to just be themselves, however they show up. So yeah, that's the question. How do we kind of move towards identifying community based healing spaces?
Mm. That's a tough one. I think the reason why I feel like it's a tough one is because even in like at the core, like I think you said earlier, like how do you define community? Community is sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
for me,
Mm.
right? Like I mean, I sacrifice a lot. Like, say you want me to go somewhere and I'm tired, I'm gonna still go because it's like I'm showing up for you, and that's community. I feel like at its core, that's missing, right? We're kind of in that day and age of people want to be individuals rather than a collective, and I think that's where we need to start. People have to start going back to like what is good for all of us rather than me, and I think that's how third spaces should be thought of and how they should be created. Because I'm the same way, right? Like the cookouts I have game nights, I've been hosting like little events, and the whole focus is to bring people together, right? We all have I'm the common theme, right? Like y'all know me, but I know y'all, and I think you guys will be great together. Um, and I think that there's so much to like grow as a community if we all just foster like this idea of like, how can I help this person? How can I foster a safe space for you versus like, what am I getting from this? When I think of third spaces now, and I just got my yoga certificate a month ago in January, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out how to like embody yoga therapy and a third space, right? Like, how do I foster that without it feeling like a money grab?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Right now, money grabs. Everybody's doing community spaces, and there's two parts, right? Community spaces are not cheap. I've hosted events, they're not cheap at all. So like this idea that you should be able to enter a community space for, like with no commitment of anything is unrealistic. But also the expectation shouldn't be that you're footing the bill for the whole community event. So finding that balance of like, I want to be a part of this community, so I can give $50. I can't give the like, when you go to church, you gotta give your whole like whole check. That's not to me
Your
a
whole
community. That's that's not a community setting that I want to be in, because I shouldn't have to go broke to show up in this community.
Yeah.
And that's not what I mean by sacrifice. I feel like sacrifice is like, I can give $10. That's not gonna make me go broke. I think that is better than that. So like for me, being able to sacrifice and give something to a community and everybody has that same mindset is where it should start. And I think right now, and I mean, Rochester, I haven't been there in a while, but like for New York City, you see all these events. It's expensive. It's so many things that's going into it that is like, it's not even about community anymore. It's about like building a name. And I mean, I've been a promoter. I've done so many different things, and I feel like the core person who I am, if I was to make a third space, it would be like a donation base. And like, what can you offer to the space so that, if you don't got no money, like I have, like you have Najee painting. I have like a few of my friends' paintings in my house, and deals like, okay, I do this for you, and they'll give me a painting. And I also like advertise their stuff. Like, how can I help you help me, and vice versa. And I feel like that's what third spaces should be. And they're not. They're all just like, well, one person is footing the bill for everybody, and the burden is on one, and it should be on everybody.
Yeah, I was just on I think it was one of them, TikTok or Instagram, they all blur together. But somebody said that like black people should go back into bartering, especially in the way that the economy is right now. And then she was like, it's not necessarily to get free things, but we were at our best when we were bartering spaces and places and services. You have this service, I have a service, or I have something that you need, you got something that I need. Can we barter it? And that's a form, as I'm listening to you, that's the form of sacrifice that I'm hearing you say. Like we have to sacrifice what we offer in order to get to that next whatever that thing is. Yeah, that's real. That's real. And I think the third space is a big thing. Like even talking to one of my sisters, and she was talking about her love life at one point in time, and she was like, she just want to find her husband at like Kroger, and she's walking and she was like, oh, I just want to find Kroger. I'm like, that's not how it works. People go to Kroger to get their groceries and go home. Like, I get it. Like, you want that like happily ever after story, but like, do you remember how we used to find who we were interested in back in the day? And she was like, no. Like, exactly. We used to go to like, it was common interest, or Magic invite me somewhere and Rhea be there because we in the same space. And then it's like, oh, okay, let's exchange numbers. And then it goes from there. But it came from a common space, a third space that we were in Rochester. That was Horizon Fun Effects, Teen Night.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like Teen Night
Go back.
The Y, like a bunch of different places where you would just find people there. Track meets, track season was crazy. But track meets, same difference. You will find your common people, common folk from different parts of the city. So yeah, I we got to figure out, bring back the cookouts though, for sure. I used to have a cookout every year.
You
for
guys
my
know how to
birthday.
grill though?
I do. I love me a good grill. I grilled on my birthday in 2012. That was a long time ago. Invited
Yeah.
people over.
I'm personally tired of barbecue, so you would not see me.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't gotta eat it. You just show up.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't barbecue. No, absolutely no. No,
Okay, so no barbecue for you. So what is
no.
your third space gonna be?
I don't know. Oh, the studio.
I was gonna say that makes sense.
That's your
Yeah, the
that ain't
studio.
your third space.
That's my third
That's one of
space.
your spaces. But that's connected to
That's my,
your work. What's your third space where you see, but you don't socialize. That's his thing. He
no.
not a social
Yeah.
person. Okay. So cause that goes into what we're talking about. How do you find your third space when you know that you're not a social person? Because there's a lot of loneliness happening because people don't go outside of what they are used to. So how would you identify your third space?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't even know if this exists. I don't because I have to even though I don't want to be there, sometimes I have to be there at events because of I'm supporting another artist or something like that. Because I don't like to go to I don't like to be out at I get my moods where I don't want to be out. I don't want to go to this, I don't want to do that, but I'm going to support somebody and now I'm in a space where I gotta network or something like that of that nature because I'm in the field where my passion is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. I'd be happy chilling alone
Where do you
with
chill
my
though?
paintings.
Outside of see alone. That's what we're trying to get away from. But
Why can't I be
you
alone?
can still be alone, but still be in a third space. So, like for example, you said you like
My bed.
no no.
That's even more alone.
That's
That's
more
you have a
alone.
partner.
But that's when I'm happy.
Okay, but you can still not telling you what to do. I'm not your therapist. I'm not a therapist. You can still find happiness, joy being alone, but being in public. So I'll give an example. If you said you like learning about space and stuff like that. What if you went to Barnes and Noble and you were reading a book by yourself, but you're in public? Because that third space, you might go there and you might sit at the same table and drink the same Starbucks. You shouldn't be drinking Starbucks because they support Israel, but you drink the same Starbucks, and then a beautiful black woman, queen, walks past you and be like, "Oh, did you ever hear of Star Talk?" And then y'all start talking, and then boom, y'all married with kids. That's the third space because it's not necessarily connected to your work, but you're still going somewhere to like, you know, be in a different space than either home or work.
I'm probably gonna get pissed off that she talked to me. I didn't come here for that.
Okay.
I didn't come here for that. Why are you talking to me?
Yo,
I didn't come here for that. I didn't come here for
That's
that.
funny.
I came here to be alone.
Yes,
I
feel
think
you.
I
feel
think
you.
that's for somebody that's looking to to for new people or open to see or meet new people.
Mm.
I maybe I'm not ready to be open. So when I'm open, then I will find the third space.
See, but you're not going into the
Maybe.
third space to find nobody. You just going there to be like
Because
one of
what
my
you just
third
said,
spaces.
I could have went to Starbucks and got the book and went home
See, but
and sat in my living room.
see, the thing
Okay,
is,
I have an interjection because there is spaces just like that what you need. So they have I have a client who sometimes go. They have like places where you can read and it's literally just to read. Like
Just to
everybody
read, yeah,
reads
to be
privately.
alone. Yep.
Nobody talks to anybody and you just read, but you guys are all in space and
Mm-hmm.
if you do want to talk, it's an option, but it is a silent read. That sounds like something you need. It's still community, it's still the third space, but it's for people who want community but don't want to talk in community.
What if I don't want to see nobody?
You'll be looking at the book. What you gonna see?
Yeah, you ain't gonna see nobody.
You can feel other people's energy.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
You can,
I
and
think you gotta just
sometimes,
figure out what
and
you
sometimes
need.
I'm so like I'm always looking. I'm always aware of my surroundings. So I'll read and then look up and then go back and then because I don't trust people. So it's like I don't know.
There's a lot to work with
Something
there.
going on. Yeah. Even like at the movies. I went to see the Michael movie. I'm watching for a little bit and then it just for like 2 seconds I just gotta and then go back. Like I just have to because I just got to be aware of my surroundings, and that probably could be coming from my survival.
I must say that's trauma.
Right? Getting raised off survival, like gunshots. If I hear that, the fuck?
I hope everybody do that.
Do I gotta run? Well, I don't know if you seen Dan White. Dan White said he stood there while they looking for the gunman.
He was kneeling. I seen a video of him. he wasn't all the way down, but he was like.
Yeah, I'm not standing up. Like that's just crazy. I am immediately getting out of harm's way. But I don't know. I'm okay with my circle of friends. I'm okay with if I need to, I can go. They might be throwing something. I'll go and boom. If I want to be around people. The studio, boom. If I want to, well, I have to be around people. I'll be happy being alone in my thoughts. I think people have a problem with being alone. I think people have a problem with silence because then everything is coming at them. I think some of the strongest people could sit in silence and be alone, just because they can just block all that out and just be calm and be who they are and be comfortable where they at and where they at in life, where they at, wherever they at, as if alone or in silence. I think those are some of the strongest people. Because some people want to be around people to avoid that silence, avoid that loneliness. So that's how I look at it. I don't know. I mean, it's never a right or wrong answer, but
no, we got to find you a third space though.
Wow. So
it sounds like he found his third space. Let's give him that. He said that he would be willing to go hang out with friends if like he had to.
I hang out with people more than you think I do.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, I got him on the show. He remind me every time that he don't like talking, but he here. Hey, this is a third space.
You know what I'm talking?
Space too, yeah.
This is like a 7th space.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I'm always talking. There's not a day where me out talking. There's not a day without me talking shit. Because that's just who I am. I have to talk shit.
Yeah.
I gotta crack a joke. That fulfills my day. Talking shit and cracking jokes. And then once that's fulfilled, I'm fine. I can go be by myself.
I feel you. I'm with you.
It works. I think that's all that matters.
Yeah. As long as it works for you and you don't feel lonely and, underappreciated.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I got my water.
And loneliness.
Oh, wait. I go to the gym.
But that's a place. That's a place where you ain't talking to a random person.
Why? That don't.
Well, I do. Using this machine? Nah, I'm not using that machine. Go ahead. Hey, I'm just saying.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you.
The gym can be a third space because it is a form of community. It's a good community when you go to, consistently go to the gym.
I go consistent. I went 4 times this week. It's normally 3 to 4 times a week. I went 4 times this week. Next week, I'm gonna try to go tonight so I can get 4 or 5 this week. But hey, I've been doing a good job consistently since September. So
that's good.
I'm doing my thing. Now we're getting close to the end of the show. I can't see the time because somebody called me. But Rhea,
it's 1:30. Whoa! Before because you about to ask the final question.
I'm gonna ask 3 questions.
Okay, so let's do that after the song.
And then I'm gonna do the song of the week. Yeah, and I got my song of the week.
Let's do song of the week first because it's gonna be quicker, and then we're gonna do the 3 questions.
And then we're going to the 3 questions. Yeah. My song of the week. I don't know if anybody has. Oh, Rhea does. Rhea has me on social media. Where I talk about on Facebook, I go and rate albums and things of that nature. I don't know why I started doing that, but people seem to enjoy it and hit me up about albums and stuff. So this week I listened to Kehlani, And my song of the week will be Kehlani Shoulda Never featuring Usher. I actually enjoyed Kehlani album. That was an 8, Rhea. There go your 8. Since you was looking for an 8.
Okay.
That was an 8. I really enjoyed it. It gave me that early 2000, mid 2000 feeling, the whole album. But that one song in particular with Brandy, that was like Brandy coded. Like from start. I'm like, damn, is this Brandy or Kehlani? And it was that was a great song. But yeah, Shoulda Never featuring Usher, Kehlani.
Okay. All right. Rhea, what you got? You got any song that's been like in rotation?
Heavy rotation.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm obsessed with. I might say his name all wrong. Odell. It's Odell and Leon Thomas, Miami.
Oh, I heard that.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good. I think that's an 8. It's such a good song. It just feels so good. I'm if you ever like come to my house, I play neo soul all day, every day. It just gives me that vibe. Like a real feel good song and sexual and like it's nice. I like it.
Dope. Well, I don't got no industry artists. Since I was traveling this week, I listened to my downloaded music, which is a small curated like list. And I revisited my cousin King Ocean, shout out, his project Nebula. So my song of the week is Space Cowboy by King Ocean. It's dope. Hold on, I can.
I'ma take the heat out. Red dot on you, it's a shootout. Collect another page, now I move out. Better catch me before I catch you. Try a gun, shoot a bitch, chopping on another move. Roy Mustang with the fire, stay on the loop.
Produced by him. He don't be writing stuff down for real. Because I was like, what you said here? He was like, I don't remember. I just recorded it. I was in the moment when I was producing. So Space Cowboy by King Ocean. That's my song.
Okay. Hey, I actually heard that song. I actually like that song. So
Real good song.
real good
You know,
song. Yeah.
Maybe Magic never know because I might have one of his songs as the song of the week.
I know
And
you
he'll
go
just hear 'em.
everywhere.
I know I go
One
everywhere.
week is Public Enemy. Next week is Sexy Red. I don't know.
I'm
there's
not doing no
Red.
sexy red, but
Hey,
you right. It is
sexy.
that was a good song though. All right, Magic, what you got? What's the
All right.
questions?
So we speaking on music. Let me go to music real quick. Rhea, I ask everybody this question that comes on this podcast. What is another classic album after Usher Confession? R&B album.
After Confessions? What year did
After
Confessions come out?
I believe it's 04, yeah.
It was
That's a hard one.
yeah, fall of 04.
And remember, the key word is classic. So some impact, maybe it changed the sound of R&B or the sound of music.
It's still in rotation to this day.
It's still on the radio.
Like
it's still on
radio
rotation to this day. Hear it in the club still to this day.
That while she's thinking, that also came up on social media. Somebody was like,
yeah, I seen that.
Yeah,
somebody taking my shit.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, man.
Facts. They listen to the show.
Can I say Beyonce?
Which one?
Which album?
Beyonce. Hold on, I have to figure which album this is on. Oh, wait.
After.
Confessions was 2004.
2004.
Anything after 2004.
Classic album, still in rotation.
I feel like even her B-Day album though, like Irreplaceable. That was like that album alone had like a couple hits.
I
don't know. That's a hard one. R&B.
Yeah, we can't take that suggestion. You sounded like you was doubting yourself.
Like, and then I'm like, I am doubting myself because I'm like, dang, I really have to sit with that one.
Yeah, because
that's okay.
Let's put a pin in that one. Let's put a pin in that. And
that was the first time we got. That's the first time we got Beyonce off rip. Typically, people say Chris Brown. Like,
and honestly,
I don't like Chris Brown like that. I mean, he's cool, but yeah.
Honestly, I think 4 is better than B-Day. But hey, everybody got a different Beyonce album. So
I mean,
yeah.
I'm thinking about songs that one does. That's a good one. That's a great one actually too.
Yeah, I think that's her best album. So I don't know.
Best like ever?
Out of Beyonce catalog, yes. I think that's her best album.
Okay.
maybe what's this? What's with Lemonade? Is that Beyonce? Is that called Beyonce?
No, I thought it was called.
Lemonade was on.
I
Lemonade
thought it
and
was called Lemonade. It wasn't called Lemonade. The album.
is it? I thought it was called Beyonce.
Oh no, it's called Lemonade.
Yeah.
Lemonade.
Yeah.
Okay, well yeah, that one. That's a good. That's
That
a
one was
good.
good too.
Yeah, that was really good. Okay, so my next question is, before I get to my very last question, where do you want to go that you haven't been yet,
Mm.
country wise?
Oh, that's always so hard for me. So I don't ever really have a plan. I just kind of just be like, I'm gonna go here today.
Mm-hmm.
Japan. I've watched so many of you guys go to Japan.
Yeah.
Japan's on my list.
Okay.
Take an
Yeah, I
extra
wanna
Hey,
go.
I
suitcase.
love Japan. Yeah, bring an extra suitcase. I love Japan. I have Japanese cousins. And then my
Oh.
cousin lives. I have another cousin, which is their father, live in Japan. So that the first time I went was kind of I was just going around. The second time I went with family. Um, each time was a beautiful experience. I
Mm.
love Japan, and I was supposed to go this year. I decided not to go because they wanted to go in March, and I don't want to go in March because it's like Japan is like Rochester weather.
It's
It'd be
cold.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So summertime
You
is
go over the
blazing.
summer. Yeah.
And even though they recommend not to come in the summertime because it's like 100 degrees from like 3 a.m. to like 8 p.m.
Yeah, because the sun rises at
No
4.
exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no exaggeration. It literally 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's literally hot the whole time. But I want to experience it. I never experienced the sun coming up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
And yeah, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, the sun is up and it's hot as hell. I never experienced it. You spent in the summertime?
Yeah, I went around literally like around this week.
Yeah, I
back
want to
in
experience
2019 because
I-
literally like this week. So I would have been on the plane heading to Japan back in 2019 this week because we went into that first weekend of May.
First weekend of May, yeah.
And this is when
I
the sun
wanna
rises at
experience
4
it.
a.m. and all that stuff. Crazy.
Yeah, I want to experience it.
It don't feel
Okay.
like the sunrise at 4 a.m. though.
It's hot as hell. But my last question before we get out of here. Do you believe you fully heal from wounds and trauma? Or do you learn to just live with it?
I like that question. I think it's the latter. You learn to move around it. It's like grief. You never get over something. You just learn to adapt to it.
That's how I felt. I felt like it's just always going to be with you. I think you might go on to it where you feel like you healed from it, and then something might trigger something, and boom, and reopen the wound or reopen that trauma in your head. Like, fuck, damn, you did it. Why? Leave me alone. I agree. I feel the same way. But yeah, that's all the questions I have.
Important. I would say one thing I'll add to that is EMDR. If anybody is like interested in therapy and they have trauma that feels like it's like stuck and like deep rooted, EMDR is really good because it helps you reprocess the trauma. So kind of the same idea is like things might come up and trigger you, but your response to it is different.
That's the desensitizing thing that you said.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I've had clients who all traumas you could think of, like murder, sexual abuse, abusive parents, like all of that. They've done EMDR. It could take from like 6 months to a year, if longer. And you notice that after, like, you ask them like, how distressing is that memory? And they're like, honestly, it's not distressing anymore. Like, it's not as impactful to them once they process it again.
Did you see that that episode? That reminds me. Did you see that round table talk? It really wasn't round table though. That Oprah did around like kids or adults ghosting their parents, and then them saying that generation saying like that's an epidemic and you shouldn't do that. And she like had a whole town hall conversation about it. Do you feel that is what was it, the EDM, the
EMDR.
EMDR. Do you feel like that's
HDMI.
what's happening? HDMI is crazy.
HDMI.
That's crazy.
But if it's saying that, say that part again.
I was saying, do you feel like that's what they're doing when adults choose to distance themselves from their parents because of the trauma that they experience with those parents?
No, I think that's avoidant, and it's not a bad avoidant. Like you have to have. I always talk about control a lot too in my sessions, where like, what do we have control over? Like, you can't control your parents. Like, you cannot make anyone, parents or not, change. And what do you have control over? All you do have control over is your relationship with them. So cutting them off is that control. But I don't think that it's healing anything, because there is no processing. There's nothing. It's just acceptance that this is who they are, and in some capacity, you don't have to deal with them. Kind of like what Magic said, in terms of like, if that trauma or that thing re-triggers you, your parent can always re-trigger you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you sever that communication, it's you basically saying like, I'm preventing you from triggering me in the future. So I don't feel like you're really, I don't want to say you're not healing and you're not doing the work. I think you're choosing yourself and you're taking control back.
That's lit. So as we, with that in mind, as we close out, what is one thing that you want to leave with community, Black community, as a closing thought to ponder on as they are in this journey of self and being effective and being healthy mentally and emotionally and physically and all that stuff? Being that fitness is not just physical, it's mental and emotional as well. So what's one thing you would want to leave them with as you are in the profession of healing?
Communication is so vital. I think we've all experienced like being ghosted or having a friendship or relationship die off. I stress this in my communication with my clients, my friends, myself. You have to communicate, right? Nothing gets solved without communication. And if you want your relationships to look the way that you show up, you have to communicate. People are not mind readers. People don't know what you need. You don't know what people need, right? So you have to have conversations. And when it gets really hard, the biggest thing is to have difficult conversations. So it may not feel good, it's uncomfortable, but your friendship will be, or that relationship will be so much stronger after that like conversation is had. So conversations, talk it out and just lay it on the table, and whatever happens, but at least you can say like, I talked it out.
Word. That's lit. Talk it out. Communicate. That is the foundation to all of this healthy living and community. Rhea, Rookie, whatever people know you as and call you, we appreciate you for coming on the show. It's been a great conversation. And we hope to have you back at some point. When you are, in the States, because you, like you said, you wake up and be like, I'm going to Peru today. I mean, not like today, but I mean, I'm pretty sure you got it. So you got that fun, that sinking traveling fun. It's like, oh, you know what? Who I'm going with? Let me drop a call. But yeah, no, we appreciate you. We have you back at any point in time. Magic, what you got before we close out?
One more question.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing with the rookie clothing?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's been a minute.
Everybody's been asking me. I don't know. I stopped it because of school. Obviously, I'm done with school for now. It might be making a comeback. I love Third Eye Hippie. It has so much meaning behind it, and it represents so much to me. We're gonna find a way to reincorporate it with all the things that I'm doing now.
Okay. Love to hear it. Would love to see it.
Facts. We would love to see it. We would love to see it. Magic, you got anything?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nope.
I don't have anything. I'm reviewing a script right now, but other than that, I don't have anything. Rhea, you got any trips coming up?
I have a posted of list of trips right here.
That is
I'm
crazy.
leaving next week Tuesday for somebody's graduation, and then I leave in May to go to Portugal.
But yeah, you already know. Bring another set of ears for next week's show. I am King Dev. That's Magic Gretzky. We had Rookie on the show today. This is Introspective Insight, the Black Wall Street podcast, and we out. See you soon. Yeah. Come back next week. Yeah. Introspective Insight. Introspective Insight.